People were aware of electricity long ago. Ancient fish healers would subject those suffering from headaches to a powerful jolt from an electric eel as a cure, and people noted that rubbing an amber rod with animal fur created some type of magical charge. In 1600, English scientist William Gilbert coined the term electricus, derived from the Greek word for amber. In 1752, Ben Franklin proved that lightning carried an electric charge with a celebrated key on a kite with wet string experiment. But the world wasn't in need of electric keys. It needed something that could replace the limited work capacity of animals, humans, and steam. No one person invented or discovered electricity. Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, Nikola Tesla, George Westinghouse, and others built upon one another's discoveries to turn electricity from a mere quack curiosity into something that could be harnessed. Yet, as far as we've come in the utilization of alternating current electricity, the mechanics of creating it, rotating coils of wire inside a magnetic field, have changed very little. The battle between Edison's direct current and Tesla's alternating current, the war of the currents, is legendary. They were collaborators, adversaries, dueling geniuses, and eccentrics, each with varying degrees of business acumen. Edison won in that department. They competed to establish the first widely accepted electrical grid. Initially, direct current took the lead, but it had its limitations. It was difficult to transmit long distances, and this reminds me of the 5G internet network that we're using right now. And separate generators and circuits were required for different applications, one set of wires for lights, others for motors and other equipment. Alternating current was more versatile and could travel longer distances, but it was arguably more dangerous. To prove the dangers of alternating currents, Edison initiated a misinformation campaign that went as far as electrocute cats, dogs, and Topsy, a rogue zoo elephant who squashed 3 handlers in 3 months. In 1893, World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago became the battleground, with the more versatile alternating current winning out. Although Tesla won the technology battle, he eventually lost his marbles. Towards the end of his life, he worked furiously on developing wireless alternating current and ray guns. He consumed only boiled milk and kept everyone 3 feet away to avoid germs. He was celibate because, as he puts it, I do not think you can name many great inventions that have been made by married men. He wiggled his toes several hundred times before going to bed because he believed the nightly exercise would help him live to be 135 years old. He died at the age of 87, alone and nearly penniless. Manufacturers and industrial complexes needing massive amounts of electricity may have distribution wires leading directly to them. Smaller wires, often grouped in threes, carry about 13,800 volts and travel over to your neighborhood atop poles usually made of wood. Why wood? Though concrete, carbon fiber, and metal poles are available, nothing does the job cheaper, faster, or with more versatility than a stick in the mud. With a wooden pole, you have a sturdy support, average lifespan about 45 years, which you can hang crossbars, power lines, cables, telephone wires, street lights, traffic signs, and lost schnauzer posters using little more than a drill and some hardware. That's why, in this synthetic age, There are 180 million wood poles standing duty in the US. The lowest lines you see are usually low voltage telephone and communication wires and cables. The 4-foot open area above is a safety zone in which low voltage workers can operate safely. The area below, affectionately called the yard sale zone. Next up the poles are electrical service lines and service drops, like the one that leads to your home. The very upper echelons are reserved for higher voltage distribution lines. Some power lines, especially in large urban areas and near airports, are installed underground. Below street level, the wires are less susceptible to damage, take up less space, and are less affected by weather or fires, as Pacific Gas and Electric's California wildfires will attest. The downside? Underground lines cost 10 to 15 times as much to install, have half the life expectancy, and can take weeks versus days to repair. Before branching off to your home, overhead power lines travel through a small cylindrical step-down transformer. In most cases, this transformer lowers the current to 120 or 240 volts. From there, the wires at this point bearing insulation enter your home through a service mast that directs them to your main service panel, which, if things go wrong, directs current to your wire cutter. The average US household consumes 10,399 kilowatt hours of electricity per year, and the annual electric bill averages $1,500. Residents of Louisiana have the highest average annual consumption at 14,200 kilowatt hours, thanks to air conditioning. Citizens of Hawaii, on the other hand, have the lowest at just over 6,000. Some people maintain that household current is not enough to kill you, but they're wrong about 200 times a year. Damaged or exposed household wiring, faulty power tools and appliances, ladders contacting power lines, and knucklehead moves are all contributing to the statistic. When I cut through the wire, my wire cutter created a short circuit for a split second, enough time for power from a hot wire to surge through my tool to a neutral wire. Why, you might be wondering at this point, aren't birds on a wire electrocuted? Electricity follows the path of least resistance, and a big copper wire offers easier passage than a bird's skinny legs. Also, current flows only when a circuit is completed, and a bird on a single wire doesn't do that. But if a bird with a large wingspan touches two lines of different voltages at once, or a small bird touches a wire and a support pole that's grounded, the bird will indeed be zapped.